Ever since Spyro Reignited Trilogy released on PC, there has been an active community of modders turning back the years to make the game as faithful to the original versions as possible. This video aims to show the sheer amount of mods available and the different ways you can create a de-ignited trilogy. I certainly don't have the best eye for detail. I look at the levels and characters in the Reignited Trilogy and think they look like they should. It's not until I started seeing colour tweak mods pop up that I noticed the smaller discrepancies between the original games and the Reignited Trilogy. Sure, Spyro looks like how you would expect, but what about now? Yeah, I like that more. He looks so much more detailed with more horn-like coloured horns, two-tone wings, and even the scales on his back are more defined. But sometimes more detail isn't necessary. Take Sparx for example. Does he really need to be this detailed in Reignited? His legs creep me out, and why would he ever have teeth in the first place? Thankfully, it's easy enough to get rid of them. Some levels have received colour upgrades too. Now, I never had a problem with how any level looks in the Reignited Trilogy, but there are a few mods that have made me say, yeah, that's how it's meant to look. I love this Artisans Classic Colours mod that changes the Skybox and adjusts the colours away from this overly warm tone, which I never noticed until I saw them side by side, and I never thought I'd say something like overly warm tone, but there you have it. This Magic Crafter's overhaul is very impressive too. It completely changes the colour palette of the world from the boring grey rocks next to grey rocks on top of grey rocks to a more varied and vibrant white and pinky purple design. This fits a lot more with the original game. However, my favourite level mod is Sunny Villa Classic Colours. This was the one where I didn't even need to see a side-by-side comparison for me to notice how much more correct it looks. Back to the characters now, and they've also been on the receiving end of some colour tweaking. Starting with our not so trusty big doofus of a companion hunter. You can see he is a lot more vibrantly coloured, but personally I think it's a toss-up between the two versions. I just wish Hunter didn't exist at all, to be honest. I have to admit that I love Alora's design in Reignited. She doesn't really look the same as her PS1 counterpart, and maybe that's the main reason why I think this classic colour mod doesn't look right, but that's just me. Ripto is a perfect example of me not realising how much better something in Reignited could have looked until I see it. I much prefer this modded version mainly because of the eyes. I kinda get what Toys for Bob were going for, but I just think he looks too creepy in Reignited, and this mod shows that Ripto can still look menacing and evil without those snaky looking eyes. Idle Springs has a few tweaks to enemies and NPCs which I really like. The Foreman characters have a lighter green skin, no facial hair, and a more faithful outfit. The workers also have the lighter skin tone and a different coloured hairpiece. The large idle enemies are made with lighter colours too, with their wood and lips being more bright than the Reignited versions. Not only does this recreate the level more faithfully, I just think it looks better, simple as that. Possibly the most iconic level in Spyro 2 now, Skilos Badlands. These fellas look like this in Reignited. Not a great recreation in my opinion. What about now? This flame enemy too. Much better. Moving on to Spyro 3 now, with 4 fellow friendly freedom fighters. I remember Sheila's hair being a big talking point pre-launch. Is her hairstyle necessary? Not really. Do I mind it that much? Not really. With that being said though, I do actually prefer how she looks without it. Sergeant Bird looks good with more vibrant colours for his skin, bags, and his red cannons have been restored to their former glory. Bentley looks a lot creamier. His fur is more of a cream colour than the harsh white of Reignited. His horns have also changed colour and his hands are a slightly different tone. And Agent 9's suit has been made brighter and his purple helmet is looking shinier than ever. I like all of these changes, and it goes to show how little details can make a big difference. When it comes to Spyro 1's Crystal Dragons, there are a few different options to change them. You have this mod which makes them look a bit like that super expensive figure, and I think looks nice as it restores that polygonal style, or you have this one which honestly blew me away when I saw it. This is how the Crystal Dragons should look in Reignited. By default I think they look okay, but the legs look too skinny and I find the base they're standing on so awkward looking. This mod makes the dragons look more proud, more prestigious, and the base looks great. This is possibly my favourite mod of the lot. I can certainly say I miss the hood and font of the original games, so much so that in an earlier video I attempted to recreate it myself, and thankfully there is a rather in-depth mod available for the Reignited Trilogy that restores a more classic feeling to the heads-up display. This mod gives you options. You have 4 different files that allow you to pick and choose which elements you want to be deignited or reignited. You have the HUD, the 3D text for portals and gems, and then 2 different fonts for menus and dialogue boxes. I personally just stick to the HUD and 3D text mods and leave the menus and dialogue boxes as they are, but the choice is yours. And of course I can't not mention one of the most important mods in the entire history of video games. So what do you think? Do these mods go far enough to turn back the years and give you the remastered trilogy of your dreams, or do you want it to go further? Well, you could always do something like this. Making this video has been brilliantly eye-opening to see how much more enjoyable I can make the game just by adding a few mods. There are plenty other mods to explore, but these are most of the ones that are trying to recreate the original games rather than doing something different. I'm missing some simply because trying to keep up with all the new mods while making this video has been a nightmare, and I'm sure it'll be outdated within a week. You can find all this stuff and more on the Spyro modding Discord or on various mod hosting websites. Appropriate links will be in the description. Thanks for watching.